We officially launched our first products, all using our proprietary patented heterojunction smart wire technology, enabling the highest energy yields. So we are a company that is aiming at improving products such that end customers achieve the highest energy yields in the market. So it's not enough just to go out and tell, we have a certain module efficiency, even though our products are among the highest in the industry. But we have launched 3 products to class spec sheet modules, black and white, and a bifacial version. All 3 products show lowest degradation in the market. The glass product even lower than 6% in 25 years. So this is exceptionally low. And I think there have not been too many other products reaching the same low degradation.
Today on the Clean Power Hour, special edition, we have 2 very special guests joining us from Meyer Burger. And I am Tim Montague, your co-host. Welcome to the show, John Weaver, commercial solar guy, and my co-host.
Morning, Tim. How are you? And Tim, I might just blast off into space in this show. So I'm looking forward to this conversation.
I like to say that John has gone photonic. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our very special guest, Gunter Erfurt, the CEO of Meyer Burger, and Ardes Johnson, who is the president and general manager of the Americas for Meyer Burger. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Really excited to have you guys. And you just had a big event yesterday. Tell us what's going on at Meyer Burger.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the invitation. It's great to be here and to discuss the transformation of Meyer Burger and our new product. So yesterday we showed off, I'd say. We officially launched our first products, all using our proprietary patented heterojunction smart wire technology, enabling the highest energy yields. So we are a company that is aiming at improving products such that end customers achieve the highest energy yields in the market. So it's not enough just to go out and tell, we have a certain module efficiency, even though our products are among the highest in the industry. But we have launched 3 products to class spec sheet modules, black and white, and a bifacial version. All 3 products show lowest degradation in the market. The glass product even lower than 6% in 25 years. So this is exceptionally low. And I think there have not been too many other products reaching the same low degradation. And these products are going to be shipped from July. We have already received first orders, and we have, in addition, also announced the partners we are working with. Companies like Bayer and other wholesalers are on our list, and we are continuously increasing the portfolio of distribution partners, and are looking forward, of course, now to see the product on solar roofs in Europe and the US.
And we're joined by Ardes Johnson from Texas, who represents your operation here in North America. Say hello to our audience, Ardes, and tell us what you're up to.
Good morning, everyone. And again, as Gunter said, thank you. This is a great opportunity for us to catch up and talk a little bit about what we're doing. For us here in the US, I think we are following the coattails of a very exciting product launch yesterday. And it created a lot of buzz on our side in the immediate turnaround. So what we're doing today is really starting to establish what we're going to be, how we're going to go to market in the US. And I'm already starting to have the discussions with Gunter and Moritz Borgman, our Chief Commercial Officer, are really around what's the amount the US can get, right? So the attitude, as Gunter said, we are establishing partnerships globally, I would say almost, but in the US, we're starting to have those conversations. So obviously the big players from a distribution perspective, there's some large installers that we're having conversations with right now. There's a lot of excitement about the product, and really not just even about the product, but really the roadmap of where we're going with the product. I think that always is, as Gunter said earlier, we shared some time together at Solar World, and that was a very positive thing for us, was always to show the world what we were investing in. So here in the US, we're educating, introducing the product, and really getting it prepared, getting it qualified. We're going through the steps from a UL certification, from a CEC certification, and some others. We are just making sure that the product's ready to go. So when things start shipping in July and August, we're getting our unfair share in America. So we'll be battling for that. So that's what we're doing today.
And to John, I know that you know way more about PV technology than most people. Why is this such a big deal to have Meyer Burger launching a line of solar modules?
I love that you asked me that question, Tim. This is wonderful. First, Gunter, Ardes, it's really cool to have you on the show. Tim was super psyched to have you, Gunter, because he wants, good quality people speaking good knowledge to our people, because we like technical stuff. And that's the reason I recorded that little video for you guys, because of the technicalities in this product. I've written about heterojunction for like 4 years now. And your name is always there. And I've been slowly learning about the tech, and your name keeps popping up. We talked in the pre-show that you folks are part of PERC, you're part of Diamond Saw and Diamond Wire Saws. And now your machines are making your cells, they're doing your lithography, and they're outputting panels. And I guess, are you guys even manufacturing your panel assembly hardware? I mean, you're making everything now. That's the most exciting part, is that these panels are made by you, for you, straight to the market. It's like, I don't know, it's the swordsmith actually selling the sword instead of having a broker. And that's just, I don't know, I like giving money to the tech company. So how many pieces in the manufacturing process do you guys actually make of this panel?
So in terms of the production equipment, it's about 70% of the equipment is made by Meyer Burger itself. It's all the stuff that contains the proprietary technology. And what has not been so obvious in the industry until so far is access to leading technology goes through the equipment. It's not enough just to have an interesting R&D collaboration with an institute, but you need to have someone who's industrializing all of this. That's the critical discipline. And that has exactly been Meyer Burger's role in the past 2 decades. And John, you mentioned a few things. It's the PERC solar cell wouldn't be there without Meyer Burger. We started equipping the industry from 2012. And when I'm saying equipping, it's not that we shipped a piece of equipment in a crate. We shipped equipment, and whenever we put it on a vessel, we also booked a few flight tickets for our team to educate the Chinese and the Asian manufacturers how to make a PERC solar cell. Also, the process development came from Meyer Burger. The same for the Diamond Wire Saw and many, many other examples. And now, as you rightly said, the newest and most advanced technology that we developed within the past 12 years, we keep it in-house. We haven't sold it yet in terms of the equipment. And we believe we can keep our competitive edge and grow it over the next years, because we are not standing still. So we will continue investing in R&D, in our relationships with leading R&D institutes globally. And we believe that's where you get the most outcome from, if the equipment and technology developer is now doing also the end product, where the value really is, and the value for the end customer, which is highest energy yields and most durable performance of the product.
And what I'm so excited about, gentlemen, is that you are making an ultra low carbon solar panel. And this is so important for our industry to truly become sustainable, soup to nuts, and to walk the talk from factory to, farm field, so to speak. So thank you for that initiative. I had the ultra low carbon Solar Alliance on the show, and you're part of a very exclusive group, of manufacturers that are supporting that initiative, and it's super important. So thank you.
Yeah, one thing on that I'd say is that it's different than it was 10 years ago, right? Now, installers, companies, they're very much more educated on solar energy in the process. So it's really important for us to bring to light the fact that there's a better way to do it, right? There's a better way to make the module. There's a better way to make the steps in there, and companies care about that. And before it was, I don't know if I would say it this way too harshly, but it was expansion of solar at all costs, right? How do we grow the industry? How do we get on par with coal? And don't tell me about the process, just get me cost out. And now people are taking a pause and recognizing that technology matters, sustainability matters, and really that's the backbone and the core of what Meyer Burger and how we approach it. And I'm happy to see that companies are interested in that, and we get this feel from the Ultra Low Carbon Solar Alliance, and when we have meetings and get together and talk about things like that, it really starts to resonate that we want to communicate that not only into the business world, but also into the policy side of the conversation. So that's we're pretty proud of that, and we definitely are going to take advantage of that with the more growth and knowledge of solar and how it's produced.
Mm-hmm. And if I may add, we are of the very strong opinion that it's not enough to just produce a product that's perceived sustainable, which of course a solar panel obviously is. We believe that the entire enterprise has to be a sustainable thing, and we are doing this step by step. We are not perfect, but we want to get to that very ideal and perfect structure of doing our business, conducting our business as sustainably as ever possible. And there's a growing perception of the necessities behind it among the installers and end customers, but it is also a topic for investors. And so we believe we have a great ability to also lead the way in the industry, like we do and did in technology. But we also believe we want to be a lighthouse of a truly sustainable company. And just to give you a few examples, what we already did, we changed our energy supply contracts for our manufacturing companies. So they are 100%. We are sourcing from renewable sources in Europe. So we secondly took the forced labor debate very seriously, and were able to secure silicon that comes from reliable sources made in Europe. We have other components in the module that we are sourcing in Europe. We are inviting the entire industry to join us in these efforts and help us regrowing, I have to say, the ecosystem outside of Asia that supplies the industry. And the same is also applicable to the logistics topic. We've seen the issues just arising from a huge vessel getting stuck in the Suez Channel. And I was joking the other day when I heard it on the news, telling my team, "Hey, I guess it's full of solar panels." Mm-hmm. And guess what? A day later, I'm listening to a radio broadcasting and a Dutch solar installer being interviewed, who freaked out because his product was on that vessel and still is. And we believe securing these supply chains in a business which is not just a standard, we are not producing a consumer good. This is energy infrastructure, and we have to make sure it can be freely accessed. And that means in the mid and in the long term, Meyer Burger is following a strategy that we want to produce the panels in the respective markets in order to be close to customers, to show them the quality systems. And Ardes and I, we made this great experience in our Solar World days back in the days in Hillsboro, Oregon. Whenever we brought customers into the factory, they loved it, seeing how the product is produced and how we make sure that the quality is controlled. And we want to offer the same thing, and of course avoid costly logistics and lengthy logistics, and reach every point of the country within, a couple of days on a truckload. And even in Europe, we have started discussions with rail transport, because it's way more or has a much better carbon footprint than truck transportation. It's not easy, because our entire industry is currently working in a different direction, as cheap as possible, no matter how much it costs. That's how I put it from a sustainability perspective. But we want to get to that very ideal and most sustainable way of conducting the business.
I guess that's the transition word. Both Tim and I, we both own electric cars, and we've spoken about how upstate New York has really great clean electricity because of a lot of hydroelectricity, whereas where Tim comes from, it's about 50% nuclear, a bunch of wind, but then a lot of coal, and we see the differences in our numbers. So it's the transition, and I think that's really important for, I guess what you noted, Ardes, is that we now care more about where the product comes from, the cleanness of it, the longevity of it, the recycling of it. California has recently instituted recycling requirements. You can't just throw panels away. You have to recycle them. And this is us in the transition. So I guess I'm excited about, as the technology, which is, me, I'm a tech guy. So it's like, cool tech. But like I said, like Tim brought up, the fact that we can now tell our customers, hey, you want 100% renewable energy sourced panel? We got it. It's there. This is, I think, maybe the first time I've been able to say that. In Malaysia, there's a few factories that are very hydro powered. And then I know at least one of them buys silicon from Norsun, which I believe is manufactures their product in Norway with very hydro. So it's like a very high percentage hydro manufactured. But now I can say something different, 100%. It might not be perfect, because it is on a truck at some point, but that's cool. It's part of the transition. I mean, yesterday Germany said they were 40 gigs of solar output. It's like, whew, there's a big chunk of your work that's solar powered, which is, it's neat. We're in this transition.
Yes. So maybe two more things. We have already converted or transformed as much as we could, which is in our own hands. So securing the renewable energy for our own factories. We are not producing everything in-house, as we said. It's not 100% sourced from Meyer Burger. So we can not yet completely guarantee it's a really 100% renewable energy produced thing, but that's where we want to be as fast as possible. And we start with ourselves, transforming ourselves, and lead by example, and then get to the point where the entire product is fully sustainable. And you threw in another pretty interesting topic of recycling. We are also not accepting that today's way of solar panels are being recycled, because what is essentially being done is take the used product, just put it or shred it and put it somewhere in final disposal, or it's definitely not being used again to produce a solar panel from it. So where we need to be is circular economy. So we cannot even afford to throw things away, but need to make sure that we get the most of the material extracted in order to reuse it. And together with a partner in Germany, we have developed a way of reusing the materials in terms of circular economy up to a level of 98%, 98. So when you see a Meyer Burger product being recycled, then what you get from them is the glass. It's still entirely or it's not damaged or destructively decomposed. So you have the sheet of glass, which you will probably, when you recycle it, not reuse it again for a solar module, but you can give it back to the glass manufacturer, and they save a lot of energy by reusing the material. And they know what's inside because we are tracking the material as well that we use inside the module. And we can, after the use of it, say this is glass A from supplier B or whatever. And that's exactly how it could fit into their recycling processes. The other thing is you get all the components out of the product as far as silver is concerned, the silicon, everything, the plastics decompose, the metals, and can put it back into recycling. And we believe that's the way to go. And also here, lead by example. There's nobody forcing us to do this, but we are trying as good as we can to anticipate trends in our world and in our industry, and become the most sustainable solar energy company on the planet. Anything else, in our opinion, would be just a lie. Producing just a module and claiming I'm sustainable, but anything, the components are produced using coal energy, and we believe that this would be a fake thing sold to customers, and we want to be as transparent as possible and lead by example, not only making the best solar modules.
Yeah. And we refer to Meyer Burger as the Swiss Army knife of solar, but tell our listeners, what is your footprint when it comes to the manufacturing of solar panels? We like to say you build the machine that builds the machine. And that is how most people would know Meyer Burger, is that you make machinery that makes solar panels. Now you're making your own solar panels too, which is what the focus of this show is going to be. But what is your global footprint in terms of manufacturing?
So Meyer Burger, we named ourselves in the transformation. We are a startup with experience. Experience means we are almost 70 years old. So the company was founded in 1953. By coincidence, that's exactly the year when the Bell Labs built the first silicon solar cell, but this has nothing to do with us. But I like it. So it was founded by two Swiss engineers, Mr. Meyer and Mr. Burger. The latter is still alive. He is still alive and around. And they were building machinery for the Swiss watch industry. So they, if you're happy to wear a Swiss watch or a watch that uses or that has a sapphire glass in it, the sapphire is a crystal, and it's being cut using wire saws. And that's how Meyer Burger got started in the field of wire saws. Basically in shaping, grinding hard and brittle materials, such as dielectrics like glass and ruby stones, stuff like that. With this experience, the company entered semiconductor in the 70s already, when germanium was still the material of use, and then later silicon. There are many wire saws installed globally in the US, in Europe. The leading companies have been or are using wire saws. Your mobile devices with a chance of exactly 68% use components which were produced using Meyer Burger equipment. So we have a footprint in semiconductor as well, and in lithography in other areas. And with this strong experience and knowledge in semiconductor, the company entered and understood the chances of the upcoming solar boom in the late 90s, and then basically used the wire saw technology to apply it also in solar. And since then, Meyer Burger has been an innovator in industrializing academic ideas and always anticipating what's the next step to go. So Meyer Burger is responsible for the introduction of the so-called diamond wire technology, which enabled the boom and the growth of, and currently the domination of, monocrystalline solar modules. It would never have been possible without this innovation. Meyer Burger did this in the years 2010 through 2015. The PERC solar cell was industrialized by Meyer Burger. The initial idea is from the University of New South Wales in Australia, Professor Martin Green. But with all my respect for these super smart professors, but without the company that understands the technology and translates it into machinery, it's impossible to equip an industry and to produce the product in the end. And that has exactly been our role. And despite the technological success, we always found that also our innovation, being the global laboratory for the industry, was not always an easy situation, because others were waiting for us to bring a new innovation on the market in order just to take it and maybe misuse it, in terms of also infringing technology patents and things like this. And this is why we decided, we are now stopping to work backstage and enabling the industry to grow, but rather take the newest and best technology in order to grow with the market in future, to equip ourselves with our own equipment, make sure that the investment money of our investors stays safe in the company, because if we are not sharing it with others, then we can make the best out of it. And of course, produce for our new customers, which are the solar users, the best product available in the market, following this sustainability idea. That's where we are. We will continue to sell equipment, though very, very restricted, which is Meyer Burger's 100% subsidiary Pasan, also known very, very much in the industry. Pasan is the leading company globally that manufactures and develops IV measurement equipment to measure solar cell and module performance. We have the largest market share in the module space, and also new technologies being developed there. But this is pretty much the only equipment we continue to sell in the market. Understanding also that if a company makes the best solar modules, then we also have a good marketing for these kind of products, also for others to measure as exactly as possible in the Swiss way their end products and modules.
But for me, I bought a Tesla partially because I want to give my cash, which is partially my political power, my humanity power, to the driving technological innovator. Because I imagine you have a bunch of doctors somewhere who watch all the research papers that come out every quarter. I don't read, but I browse the abstracts of the IEEE journals, the photovoltaic one that comes out every quarter. And first off, I always feel overwhelmed when I read those, because there's more words in those things that I don't know than anywhere else in my life. And it's just like, I don't know anything. But I assume you got to have PhDs, like a whole flock of PhDs sitting in a back room, just reading journals and saying, oh, that's a new little innovation. Let's test that out. Is that, I imagine this is the case, but I've never worked in a big corporate R&D place. Is there something like this? Are there a bunch of really smart people that only hang out and read smart stuff all day long? Is this a job, career pathway potentially if I go back to school? I'm asking for a friend.
So it's definitely true. We have dozens of doctors, of very, very smart people. The way we do it is we have teamed up with leading R&D institutes globally. The one that we have the most long-standing relationship with is the Swiss headquartered CSEM in Neuchâtel in the French part of Switzerland. There's a group of around Professor Christoph Baliv. He is pretty much the heterojunction guru, if you will, globally. And so with them, we do kind of, a good sharing of the work. So they work on the very academic side of things. We have an organization which is in walking distance from that institute. It's Meyer Burger Research, also located in Neuchâtel in the French part of Switzerland. And so they then grab the ideas and basically enrich it in order to reach the level of industrialization. And once they are done, they give it to the module equipment development teams in Thun, in the east part of Switzerland, the German part of Switzerland. So they would do the module technology industrialization, and to the team in Germany doing the cell part. So that's the way we are sharing the work among the teams internally, externally. and we are following a pretty strict automotive and semiconductor industry like stage gate process. So in other words, you will never get a green banana from Meyer Burger. So this is well proven stuff that passes all qualification criteria for the end product, but also for the steps in between. So that's the way we work. But you are right. We have also these super theoretical people in-house. We have people who are much smarter than I will ever be. I'm a physicist as well. I'm a PhD as well. But when I speak with them, I feel very little because they are so super brilliant and educated in these technologies. This is one thing where we are following through like very continuously. But the other thing is also patent research, because we want to make sure that not only we have a super strong patent portfolio that protects also our customers, but we also want to make sure that we are aware of third parties' IP, because we will never ever infringe on it. And this is something that concerns me a lot also in our industry, that I have a little bit of the perception and the feeling that not every company is doing this. And there are so many patent disputes out there of stuff that is pretty obviously violated. And this is again a bad thing to do, because at the end of the day, always the customer is paying for this. Imagine you're sitting on a product as a wholesaler, which is getting into such a conflict. What are you doing with it? And we want to make sure we are always meeting all requirements and can provide our customers the freedom to operate with our product, guaranteed based on our IP, not violating others. And I wish that others would do it the same way, but obviously that's not always the case in our industry.
I think that's a nice segue to what is the breakthrough with heterojunction technology, and why is this sweeping the industry?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a pretty interesting discussion, and then I have to make sure that I'm not talking now for hours, but I could. First of all, heterojunction is nothing new. When we say we have now a breakthrough product, it's based on a pretty ancient technology. I mean, Sanyo has developed this in the 80s already. Later Panasonic, they've done a great job. They always came up with leading R&D and champion solar cells. But we also read in February of this year that Panasonic has decided to leave the manufacturing of it. I'm always or very often asked, why did they, and why are you now entering? So what's different in Meyer Burger? And I tell you, the heterojunction technology obviously has many advantages. It's the most perfect solar cell that you nowadays find on the planet. Whenever companies speak about TOPCon, which could be an alternative route, even though we are far away from a real industrialized TOPCon solution, but the TOPCon solar cell is referred to a so-called passivated contact cell. The passivation of the contact of a solar world of a solar cell leads to a very high energy yield, low energy loss solar cell. The problem of the TOPCon cell is it's a single-sided passivated solar cell only. The heterojunction cell is an ideally double-sided front and back side passivated contact. It's the ideal form of a single junction solar cell by combining the best of crystalline with thin film. It's amorphous silicon layers in a very symmetric way. It's a low temperature solar cell, so you can use ultra thin wafers if you know how to do it. And the challenge though for many companies trying to produce heterojunction is that you need to have an ideal combination of the cell technology and the module technology. Or the other way around, if you look at competitors' heterojunction products, and there are a few out there, you will see or find for those products that their efficiencies do not really exceed standard efficiencies. And looking at Panasonic's documents, you see something that is pretty similar. So 20%, maybe a little bit higher in module efficiency. And the way Meyer Burger resolved it is the combination of the patented solar cell technology with our smart wire technology. And the smart wire technology resolves many technical challenges which we believe Panasonic and others were not able to master. And this is resulting in these ultra high efficiencies, but also, and this is most important and more important than the efficiency alone, the super high energy yields. So we can claim that our product, referring to the monofacial performance, can provide up to 20% more in energy yield. And the products we have launched yesterday, among them is a bifacial version as well. It's the highest bifaciality factor that has ever been produced in mass manufacturing on this planet, with 90%, leading to on a standard module size, standard rooftop size, to a module power of BSTC, so the bifacial standard condition rating of more than 430 watt peak. This is amazingly high, and the way we put it yesterday is, competitors need to make the modules bigger and bigger and bigger, and we can do without this trick, and that's exactly what we want to do, in favor of our customers. So that's maybe in a nutshell the heterojunction story. I don't know, Ardes, if you want to add something to it.
No, I think you did a great job. I think it's important to understand is that while it's not new, the advancement of it is something that's where we really take advantage of that, right? So, and I go back and Gunter, you've said this a couple of times in different ways, but it really is about that roadmap and that investment in that technology. I think that that's really even more what's exciting to me about where we're going, right? Where we're going with it. And so it's important when you see in the market, not all modules are made equally, and not all heterojunction is made equally. So we want to make sure that we're able to tell that story and educate the consumer about that.
You mentioned, there's a combination of things that have come up. You guys worked at Solar World. Part of the evolution of our industry is that the United States actually convicted a foreign general for directing the theft of IP from Solar World. And that IP was PERC technology specifically among the multiple charges. That has led to multiple series of import tariffs starting in 2014, again later, and then most recently in 2007-8-ish, where we started off with a 30% import tariff. Currently it's past February, so I guess we're at 15% of all panels that come into the country. So I'm guessing in September, we're going to be paying a 15% tax on your product, which is whack, but whatever. But with that, all that little story comes together, and then you combine it with some of your goals on clean silicon and shorter logistics. In the Northwest US, we have a lot of clean polysilicon manufacturing possibility. You mentioned in our pre-show that there's the potential, and you mentioned in the show, potential of moving manufacturing to key markets. The United States, for the residential market, your premium product, hypothetically could be a key market. We have other things going on. How much volume do we have to guarantee you, Gunter, to get a factory somewhere in the US? Like, what's Ardes got to do? What's his spreadsheet say for 2025 or so? That'd be real interesting.
So first of all, I know Ardes for a long time and know that he can keep the factories very busy. So the plans that we have communicated until so far speak about 7 gigawatts global production capacity by 2027, which seems to be a lot if we look at it from a Meyer Burger perspective or angle, but it's a drop in the ocean if you look at the global market growth being expected by 2027. So it's a gigawatt per annum that we have baked into these plans. If it goes faster, then it goes faster. I think we definitely have a business model now under development and in transformation that allows Meyer Burger to grow according to the market demand. It's scalable. Equipment business, it's not scalable because, you know, there's one great example of, you know, the wire saws that we spoke about. That there has been a model that Meyer Burger sold thousands of, which had a list price of 1 million Swiss francs. A few years later, the next technology evolution had a 7 times higher performance. So, or in other words, where we would have sold 7 units, we would sell only 1, and the list price was, you know, 400,000 Swiss francs. That's how you suffer from your own success, and that's why the equipment business, it's not scalable with the market. So you can even lose a revenue pool even the market is growing, which is not true for the module business. So, you know, we anticipate to grow with the market, and that now depends a bit on, you know, how things are developing. US, our market entry in the US is you know, I think you introduced Ardes as the Meyer Burger president for the Americas. The Americas are a bit bigger than the US, even though the US is the largest market. So, you know, I believe if things go as expected, we see a pretty interesting demand in the region, on the continent, in the country, and then we are certainly looking into what we can do about starting own manufacturing in the US. And I don't think we need a commitment of 5 gigawatts before we move. We believe it, you know, being close to customers and enabling these pretty reliable and resilient supply chains, that's something we need to do as soon as we can. Ardes, anything to comment?
Yeah,
on how much you will sell?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, in terms of selling watts, we really don't think in the mindset of M, we think in the mindset of G, right? So we definitely are thinking a lot, and we don't, John, you mentioned residential, right? And obviously we have a great residential story and a great residential module, and kind of what we're launching right now, but we're not stopping there. I think our technology translates across multiple platforms. And if you look at the US, I don't want to put us as an example of part of the Americas, as Gunter said. I don't want to put us in that 20% of the overall volume play, right? We want to play more than that, but we're going to be strategic in how we approach it. I don't think that we just want to say, hey, let's build an industrial, commercial / utility size module. Our thoughts are really, how do we get in front of the right audience who has a certain pipeline, and let's have a conversation of what that module needs to look like, and form a strategic partnership potentially that allows us to penetrate and get into that market space that says, let's don't build, say, a 72 cell profile commercial module. And I'm not saying we don't want to do that, of course, but I think for us, it's really an opportunity, because of where we're starting, to have a larger conversation about what's the right module that you need to deploy 2 gigawatts for utility scale, right? What does that look like for you, Mr. Mrs. Customer, you know, developer, installer of that size, right? And so that's part of it as well. So I want to make sure that the audience knows is that, of course, we're going to go after and take a lot. And as I often say, the unfair share, we're going to take a lot of that residential market. We're going to really grow it. But also, we are definitely going to step in and try to participate in other markets as well, utility, commercial, and really go after, and think we can be a leader in all 3 of those markets.
I'm looking at the spec page for your glass on glass right now, and I'm looking at the warranty box. And that box, because I heard you say, Gunter, 6% loss. And I was like, no, that's not right. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But apparently you do. Because your panel has a 30-year, not a 25-year power production warranty, first off, and you have a 30-year product warranty. That's like, there's only like 2 panels in the market that I know of that do that. SunPower, well, former SunPower, Maxion, and I think maybe an LG, maybe a Silfab, I don't know. But so you have a 30-year product and power warranty. You have a 93.2% after 30 years. So after 25, which is the industry standard, it's 85. So at 25 years, you're probably at like 94 plus, maybe even 95. You have a degradation of 0.2. I've never seen that number that low. I think I've seen I put in my spreadsheets 0.4, and I feel like I'm being aggressive, but people tell me that. So, I'm really impressed by this document here. So I'm going to have to read this more. This is pretty neat. A 30-year, 93.2%. I'm doing some marketing there for you, Ardes. That's a really nice number. How long do you think this panel could last? Let's just say we put a bifacial glass on a roof. After 40 years, where do you think your efficiency is going to be? 85%?
Higher. So I was really, how should I say? I'm expecting a lot, and I know what technologies can do. When I saw the test results coming in from our certification body, it blew my mind. And we have also disclosed this yesterday in the product launch. We haven't seen any real degradation. Of course, this is a product guarantee, and but what we saw in the certification ones was really exceeding our expectations. We knew that we would be much better than the standard cell connection technologies and heterojunction itself, because it's N-type, doesn't degrade per se, in terms of the typical degradation effects that we see from PERC cells, but the module interconnection does the other part, and that's how we see the product development. It's a combination of reaching the highest efficiencies, but aiming at providing a product that is pretty much lasting forever and delivers on the promise of highest energy yields.
What is your go-to-market? And you mentioned, eventually going after all the sectors of the solar industry, and that's all well and good. But what is say a little bit about the landscape and the timing of that?
Yeah, well, of course, for us, the market that we'll be bringing to the U.S. In 2021 is going to be the residential play, right? And so we're starting to have those conversations with, like we said, with wholesalers, distributors, for sure. It's going to help us. I had a great relationship doing that when I was at Solar World, and it's a lot of value, I believe, especially in the residential market. But in terms of where we approach and enter the market, we look at it a couple of different ways, right? There's anybody, an installer, distributor, they kind of start to separate types of class of modules from an efficiency perspective, from an origin perspective. And what we want to do is we want to play in that 21, above the 21 and a half world of module efficiency, right? And so when I look at that from a competitive landscape, that's really what I'm approaching, right? We start, depending on the module, the power of our module, we start getting into that high 20s to 21 and high 21% module efficiencies. And there's not many players that can play in that. You mentioned a couple that are there. Obviously there's some other players in the market from an efficiency perspective, LG and some others, but and then there's a power play. So it's kind of a both look at it. And so when we want to enter the market, we want to enter the market as a top one or two from a power perspective, top one or two from an efficiency perspective. But really, to be honest with you, it's about that energy harvesting as well, right? What is our position in terms of kilowatt hours per kilowatt, right? And that's an important play for us. And so when we're having conversations in the marketplace, that's what we're going after. And what I like to say now is, opposed to say 6-7 years ago, there's a lot more knowledge in the different portions of that, right? From a temperature coefficient to a power, to what power means versus an energy means, which is module efficiency and cell efficiency. Those all make a difference. So we want to participate. We want to enter the market as kind of the top one or two, number one, number two, a player in that, and really establish ourselves in that position, and also educate the consumer, whether it be our wholesale distribution partner, our installer, or just the general marketplace, is that not only where we are today, but where we will be in 12, 18, 24, 36 months, and where some of the competition may be in that point in terms of technology. I mean, it's not in our best interest to really call names and do this kind of stuff. It just really talks about where we're going and maybe educate customers to ask those questions to the other competitors, I should say, of ours. So that's really what we're going after. It's going to be pretty simple for us. We think that we can participate in the highest places in the market, and we don't have enough volume. I would think that they're going to come my way this year that would make a difference in terms of the demand. So we feel that there's going to be a really strong demand for the product this year.
Well, I will conclude the show then. I'm Tim Montague, your co-host. Let's grow solar and storage. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Take care, guys.